What is up, Eagle investors? I hope all of you had a great trading week. This week in particular was filled with unusual activity, and our traders here at Eagle Investors were able to take advantage of that. In particular, on Friday, we saw the rise of individual stocks as a result of retail investors pumping their money in. In particular, we saw the Wall Street's bets community come into full force on Friday and rise specific names that I will cover throughout this video. The first name that I wanted to cover was GameStop. We saw GameStop rise an unprecedented $22 on Friday, which represents an increase of over 50%. Now, this was due to it was actually due to a gamma squeeze. Many people believe it was due to a short squeeze, but the primary result of the move up was due to a gamma squeeze. Now, you might be wondering, what is gamma squeeze? So gamma squeeze is when retail investors, in this case, it was retail investors with GameStop, they buy short dated call options. So these short dated call options, for example, with GameStop, they expired on Friday, January 22nd, and we saw a dramatic rise in the volume of these short dated call options. Now, as a result of millions and millions of dollars being poured into these short dated call options, we saw the dramatic rise in GameStop's stock price as a result of banks and institutions on the sell side who sell these options contracts to retail investors having to hedge themselves as a result of this massive spike in volume for these out of the money call options. Something to note in particular was all of the call options for January 22nd actually expired in the money as a result of this gamma squeeze that we saw on Friday. And the reason why we saw this happen with a name like GameStop in particular is it has a high short float as well as a low float. What does a low float mean? That means the number of common shares that are issued with the stock are relatively low. And that was the primary cause of such a dramatic move up. If you see a company that has a lot of volume that comes out of nowhere, it's able to be pumped up significantly. And this is what the Wall Street bets community was primarily focused on. They were able to pump up names such as AMC Theaters, the ticker AMC. They were also able to pump up BlackBerry, and then they also pumped up individual companies such as Palantir, along with Bed Bath and Beyond. Now, some names that I wanted to cover that weren't expressed in the news as much were through this screener. I decided to do a screener based on companies with high float shorts as well as relatively low floats as well. So what we saw was a rise in AMC networks as well. Now, the rise with AMC networks might be due to the fact that many people associate AMC theaters with AMC networks, retail investors in particular, even though they have no connection at all, which is very interesting to note. And then like I mentioned before, we saw the rise with Bed Bath and Beyond. As retail investors were pumping money into that individual stock. And then another name that I wanted to know was GSX. We saw a large rise and large unusual activity with GSX. Nano Dimensions is another name that was mentioned within the Wall Street's bets community. And I believe a lot of retail investors were pumping money into the name as well. Stitch Fix had a combination of a buy rating from an analyst and was able to get pumped as well. I believe with the high float short as well as the relatively low float, it was able to go up dramatically as well. Now, some other names I wanted to mention were XL as well as SunPower. They were able to rise over 6% as a result. And something to note is, for example, with SunPower, it's relatively volatile, so that's something to watch for. It might have not risen just due to the fact that there was a pump within the Wall Street bets community, but it's a name to definitely look into. Now, one name that I wanted to focus on for my play next week that I think will rise dramatically for next week and over the next few weeks is Palantir. One, it's having its inaugural demo day, which has generated a ton of hype for the stock. The stock itself was came from $28 to $32 on Friday itself, just partly due to what we saw with the gamma squeeze, as well as the fact that we're seeing a lot of unusual activity due to the fact of the hype for this demo day. Now, this demo day, there are expectations for demonstration of a new software element for Palantir. So that's something to definitely watch for. I think there's great opportunity. Something to keep in mind with a lot of these plays, these are extremely high risk, high reward plays. So please be careful. Once the volume dries out for many of these companies, then you could see a dramatic leg down for these names. So keep in mind, you have to be very careful. Our rule of thumb here at Eagle Investors is for any alert that's alerted by a trader, make sure that you don't have over 5% of your portfolio in that trade. That prevents you from being overexposed to any specific name, as well as allows you to be diversified. And when it comes to these speculative names that you're seeing large pumps, make sure that you're keeping your buy targets and sell targets in mind when you're looking at these trades. Now, I think these gamma squeeze plays might also result in a short squeeze. There are still reports saying, for example, with GameStop, there could be a rise over on Monday and Tuesday as a result of more of a short squeeze that could be followed from this gamma squeeze as well. So that's something to definitely keep in mind. Thank you for watching this episode of Eagle Investors. Make sure to like the video, as well as subscribe if you haven't already. And if you're not part of the Eagle Investors Discord server, where we put out daily trading alerts, make sure to join with the link in the description. And if you have any other video ideas or would like to see any specific topics, feel free to write them in within the Discord server or just leave them in the comments down below. Thank you for watching and have a great trading week.